now that we got through what you're doing, we had a couple things we wanted to talk about. You had some stuff
things that are going on this week.
You had something written down here.
We had a couple things. So I don't know if you heard about this.
Yes.
Apple versus FBI.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you, the public out there, the interwebs, but Apple's currently in this case with the FBI. FBI wants Apple to unlock a phone, and Apple says no because it's breaking their encryption. It's a phone from one of the San Bernardino shooters.
I don't know if that. I've heard a whole bunch of different things on this, but one thing, the first thing that comes to my mind is, really, you got to ask Apple, like you're like FBI, like you. Really?
Well, some people like Snowden even came out and said, like, you really think FBI doesn't have people who can break the encryption? Like, come on.
That's not my thing. Like, they've got to, you would hope. I mean, that's the thing. I think it's more of just a, maybe a convenience thing or like maybe a cost thing. It would cost them a lot more.
Not only that. There's been some articles out, I think HuffPost put it out, say there are currently 12 cases where Apple or FBI is asking Apple to unlock their phones. So, like, they just need one. Right. And then they could say, "Hey, will you do it for that one? Now you have to do it for these 12."
Yeah, and I know there's always articles that say, you know, the family of the victims of the San Bernardino shooting, you know, obviously they want to know. I would too. You know what I mean? But that's a basis of a human reaction. You know what I mean? Like, you might be against the death penalty for whatever reason, but if one of your loved ones is killed by somebody, obviously you're going to want that person hurt. That's a normal reaction.
Human reaction.
Yeah, but you don't ask the person who's fuming to make a rational decision. Obviously, they're not going to be basing it completely in, you know, logic or in sense. I mean, some people are. I am blown away by some people who are just, you know, terrible things happen to them and they go, you know, let the system, you know what I mean? Because I think of what I would do. I'd be red. Yeah. So I agree that they obviously want that information, but at the same time, like, obviously you have all of the people that I know, Wozniak came out and he talked about, you can't do it. Like, you cannot do it. Like,
a lot of tech companies, Facebook, Google, everybody's backing, all these big tech companies are backing Apple because, if there's a backdoor in one product, there's going to be a backdoor in all of them. And then now Apple said forward and said, like, if they could build a backdoor, they could do something like they can activate the camera, they can activate the mic, that kind of stuff at any time.
And they're like, we do that anyways. If you really do think about it, like, I always think of, like, they have I hope they don't, but they probably do have a database of all the questions that are asked to Siri. And I'm like, I can't imagine going through, like, seeing the terrible things like, Siri, how do I bury this body? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they've seen some crazy stuff, but
it's cool because, like, both with the newest Android operating system and then obviously iOS 9, they built the encryption into the phone, not to obviously circumvent this stuff, but just for personal security for the users.
Yeah.
So they asked Apple, and Apple's just like, well, we can't do it. The OS is not, we literally can't do it, even if we wanted to. But obviously, I'm sure
what's the joke? I hit it so well that I couldn't. You know what I mean? You put something in such a safe place you can't even remember where it is.
Exactly, and it's
that's a bunch of crap.
See,
though. There's no way.
Tim Cook and Apple's team and stuff fight back at the FBI. It's just really refreshing to see their comments, and their FBI is getting pretty nasty. You can see some quotes out there from their side. It's just like, wow.
Yeah, but this is always national security versus human rights or individual liberties. It's always, it doesn't matter what realm, it always those arguments will always exist, and sometimes for some people it makes sense, and sometimes it makes sense for the other thing. But the other thing that I've heard is, like, this is a pretty weak case to, like, okay, so for instance, with any type of case you bring, lawsuits that you bring, you want to bring, if you're going to try to make an example, you want to bring the one that has the best facts in your case. And I've only heard that this is kind of an attenuated, it's not the phone or the person who actually committed it, it's somebody else who was involved in some ancillary way. I don't know all the facts.
I think it was the guy's work phone. So it's not even his personal phone, because his personal phone, it was destroyed or something.
Yeah.
But it was his work phone. So they're like, do you really think there's anything on here?
Yeah.
To be of use to go through all this? But there was a case in, I want to say New York, where the Supreme Court of New York said no to FBI for unlocking an iPhone in some drug case. And the case said that, the FBI can't make Apple do that. So
I think it's hard for me to believe that they don't have the resources to do it. You know what I mean? So I think it has more to do with the fact of setting a precedent that they do have the right to do it if asked.
Right.
So, because again, they're recording this podcast right now.
Yeah, they probably are listening to everything we're saying. Is your Team Apple?
If all of a sudden this turns to a black screen, you know what happened. But yeah, I think, like I said, generally it'll work itself out, but we'll see.
I wish Jordan was here, because I wonder if he would even be Team Apple on this one.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not Team Apple.
Hey, Google's on Apple's side, so then there you go.
Speaking of Google, you had something else on here you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
I have no idea what this is.